Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to chat with you guys and gals a little bit about why I choose to train fasted. This is a topic that comes up, and I've covered it a lot in lives, but I've realized I haven't really covered it much in my actual main videos. It's usually stuff I discuss, when I'm doing live streams and I'm walking, doing the fasted cardio. So the topic of fasted training, I've actually been training fasted a really long time. And I actually had someone bring up, but Jason, you said years ago you couldn't train fasted. And I'm like, yeah, because I tried it years ago and it was extremely difficult, right? Extremely difficult. But then I dug in further and started doing more of it. And here was the thing that I found, that once I got used to it, I actually got better workouts. Now, a lot of people will say, well, doesn't make sense. There's been different studies that showed more performance when fed, more performance from carbs, but actually what a lot of the studies that look at that found it wasn't even always about calories so much as satiety. Some of the actual studies that looked at those things found that sugar-free sweeteners actually produced a very similar response to, say, consuming sugars pre-workout. So there's a lot of confusion with that. But the thing that I noticed personally, a couple of things to consider. Number one, I always keep calories really, really high. So when I'm doing fasted training, I'm not trying to do this on 1,500 calories. I'm eating a lot later in the day. So I actually have pretty decent glycogen stores. So what people forget is we don't burn that much glycogen either when training. It's a bit of a misnomer. So sometimes if you're burning through it, it's because, well, you're just burning carbohydrate for fuel. So a lot of that's going to be dependent upon what's going on with your metabolic rate, what you've been eating, things like that. So realistically, the actual directly muscle glycogen burn from the training itself is very, very low. Like it's something in the range of about, studies I've seen for moderately advanced lifters, about 15 grams of glycogen, like carbs, per hour of lifting. Most of the calories you're burning in between that are just from the breathing and heart rate and stuff between your sets. So again, there's definitely some misconceptions there. But what I personally have found is not having food in my stomach matters. Because with a lot of my training workloads, my volumes get pretty intense. I've been known for having some very, very high tonnage workouts. Again, a lot of my workouts are long, they're grueling, sometimes they're heavyweight for pretty significant numbers of reps. Okay, like right here, this was a back off set of squats, like doing 5 reps with 415 on a high bar after doing my heavy, and then going on to do other multiple leg exercises, all right, like 500-pound calf raises, doing multiple high rep sets with belt squats, leg extensions, stuff like that all afterwards. So again, context, the workloads are pretty high, yet what I find is that I get nauseated with food in my stomach. So for me, it's not so much the issue, I guess, fully of the fasting on the training end. It's not having any food in my stomach, only, black coffee or liquid. It seems to matter because I get, like I said, extremely nauseated. Sometimes I found with some of my training a full stomach completely disrupts my workout. I feel like I'm going to puke, used to get nauseated. And once I started training fasted, that went away. Like that went away completely. So then I started getting workouts to where I felt really good. And again, as long as I have my black coffee in my system, I get my caffeine, I have that kind of, just for my extra energy and fuel. And so I'm running on just the caffeine. But again, not having food directly in my stomach and probably none in my upper intestine helps. Now, we still have reserves, keeping in mind I tend to eat very high calories, whether I'm doing lower carb or higher carb. The calories are high, the protein's really high. So there's still going to be a trickle of amino acids from the gut going in. So yeah, we still have fuel reserves to train on, particularly the glycogen and maybe some glycogen supercompensation. So I have not found it to be an issue. I have not found, once I got used to it after a few weeks of training fasted and then took the workloads back up, because I've been doing this in excess of a year, like probably a year and a half, I don't know. I lost track. I literally lost track, but it's been at least a year and a half. And for me, this has been one of the reasons I've gotten leaner. So many people are like, wow, Blaha's the leanest we've ever seen him. What happened? He's got more jacked. He's gotten leaner. Well, it's been the fasted training. So I didn't fundamentally change the sort of diets I do. I've always ran the same sort of diets, right? It's always clean eating, whether it's a higher carb or higher fat approach. It's always lots of fiber, lots of protein, clean eating, right? I don't eat processed fats. I don't eat refined sugars. Don't really eat refined carbs, right? No junk food. Very, very rare cheat meals. So none of that's fundamentally changed. Even the sort of calorie intakes I consumed didn't change a lot. So it's not like I went from eating 4,000 calories to 2,500 to get quite a bit leaner. Literally all I've done is train fasted and then started adding fasted cardio in. So we come over to those metabolic benefits. I generally believe that yes, there are body recomposition benefits to the fasted training to intermittent fasting, but it's not based off of no evidence. So keep in mind, we're not violating calories in, calories out. It's that what ends up happening is you may lose more fat during the fasted window. Like no one's really disputing that. What they're saying is that you'll regain fat more quickly during the feed window. But when you eat really high amounts of protein and you train really hard, that might be offset a little bit. And there's some data and evidence to support that. I've known people who've done their research in that area, researchers and stuff, who are like, no, there could be definitely a metabolic benefit here. But it tends to be for people who are lifting and then people who eat very large amounts of protein. Well, I don't really do under 250, and I have phases where I do 300, 400 grams. So I eat very, very high protein during that feed window. Okay, so again, in this context, it makes sense. So then we're looking at the nutrient benefits, different possible health benefits from fasting, metabolic benefits from it. So that's a lot of what I'm doing here potentially. So in my case, I find it's very, very helpful for the diet adherence. I find it's helpful for those metabolic benefits. But I really find the big benefit too is my focus and my training tends to be really, really good. Like right there, man, you guys are watching me with a gray beard there doing 4 reps of 550 on a deadlift. That's completely fasted. And I'm just focused. I have good workouts. I don't get nauseated. I don't have any of the problems from GI tract distress that sometimes happen from the full stomach. And again, I have a clear head and focus without any of those things when I train. Okay, so that matters. And then my blood sugar tends to stay really stable when I train. One thing I noticed sometimes when I would eat carbs before I train, sometimes I would get some low blood sugar right in the middle of training. And that was something that used to happen to me, not like high, but sometimes it would drop a little low, like I would almost have some minor hypoglycemia and interfere with my workouts. And all of that goes away with the fasted training. And again, helped me get leaner. So this is why I do it, right? This is why I do it. I get better workouts, and it's helped me lose body fat while retaining muscle and recompositioning myself, pretty effectively. Like I said, I've been very, very happy with that. And I'm going to continue to do so because it's worked quite well for me, and I know other people who it's worked for also.